Okay, very good. Thank you. That's a little bit of James Twyman and the Moses Code, I am that I am. Good evening. Well, it's rocking out there on planet Earth tonight, my friends. Yeah, we're going to get into it here for a little bit. Yeah, hopefully short but sweet tonight. It is September 5th, 2017, and my name's Lou Martin, and I'm a channel and a student of consciousness and a cheerleader for a better world and a more meaningful life for everyone on the planet. And thank you for being here. I see all my my favorite friends here. Thanks again for everyone being on morning prayers. Most mornings I'm there at 9 a.m. Ireland time, and you can see it, of course, recorded. The audio didn't work this morning for some reason on the recording. I have no idea about that. Hopefully we'll be okay here tonight. But goodness, there's a lot going on in the world right now. I guess the most important thing to be aware of is this quite big, ferocious hurricane in the Atlantic, in the Caribbean, Irma, which is a Category 5 hurricane, and is clocked in at just under 200 miles an hour, which is another monster storm. And of course, we had Harvey and the flooding that happened as a result of that, which is the biggest natural disaster in U.S. history. How natural it is still open for discussion, but that's a big old mess. Then I see today, we're going to have to get a little political here. Today, Donald Trump has decided this is the time to end the DACA immigration status for millions of children who were born in the U.S., I believe, of immigrant parents. That can't be right. They must have immigrated after their birth, and they've been allowed to stay because they've been there for quite some time. I think that's probably more accurate. My apologies for not being clear on that. But so the people of what shall I say, the illegal immigrants of Houston not only had to worry about surviving the hurricane and the flood, but they also had to worry about not getting deported while they were asking for help to survive. And while that is happening, then 5 million pounds of pollutants were released from the refineries in Houston. Houston is called the Petro Metro. It's the biggest center of refining in the U.S. And so from all this historic, unprecedented flooding, there's now an ecological disaster of a very high order, so not only into the water, but into the air. So the good news just continues here for a few moments, forgive me. Then in California, and I was just on to my friend, I knew it was happening in Los Angeles, but in Northern California as well, and in Oregon, they're having massive forest fires. And Dorit told me in Oregon, the temperature wasn't too bad. It was only 97 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think is about 30 degrees centigrade. It's unbelievably hot. And so, if you wanted to drop in on planet Earth and see what chaos and natural disaster looks like, this would be a good week for that. And yes, of course, there's been flooding in other parts of the planet as well. So we seem to have entered a new moment here as of the last few weeks in terms of climate change, global warming, whatever you want to call it. And I was just listening to Claudia at Cabin Talk. She was one of the people that inspired me to do this little project here, Spirit Talk, which led to morning prayers. And Claudia is connected with a chap named Dame Whittington, and he has a website called geoengineeringwatch.org. And he's got a lot of evidence about HAARP, man-made microwaves influencing, creating, and exacerbating the whole situation in Houston. So, other people have talked about how weather has been used as a weapon ever since the good old days of the Vietnam War in the 1960s. So again, I'm not going to go down that road very far, but just to give you the highlights, yeah, that things are really rocking out there. So let's try to turn it into something meaningful and joyous and positive. That's the great challenge, and that's the opportunity in all of this. What I want to play here for you tonight is Marianne Williamson, who is a teacher in the Course in Miracles, gave a powerful talk. She grew up in Houston, and of course a lot of us have read Marianne, Return to Love and A Woman's Worth, and many great books. And she's been out there teaching and talking about the Course in Miracles for 30 years, I'd say at this point. She's wonderful. So I'm just going to give you a little taste of her message, and I'll post this on my page again.
And that means that we are tone. When I've been in periods of my life, when I've been very, deep depression in my own life, and I had to look at some things, remember, the Course in Miracles tells us, you pay a very high price for not taking 100% responsibility for your life experience. That price you pay is that you then will not be able to change your life experience. So we can look at these storms and say, oh, storms always happen. Yes, storms always happen. They don't always happen like this. They don't always happen like this. We can refuse to look at that, or we can look at it and atone for it. And sometimes you atone on behalf of the collective. In fact, people say, well, my grandparents didn't own slaves. That's not the point. You are owning something on behalf of the entire karmic identity of a group as well. That's why a nation atones. The German nation atoned after the Holocaust. And yes, there were many Germans who hid Jews in their basement. It was not every German. But that's not the point. The point is a national identity, that the people who are part of a national identity take responsibility for it. And part of what's happened is, well, I don't have anything to do with the prison industrial complex. I don't have anything to do with mass incarceration. I don't have anything to do with racial disparities in sentencing. I don't have anything to do with what's happening in the criminal justice system. I don't have anything to do. It's all that. This is what keeps us small. I remember when people would ask me about the Course in Miracles, do you have any advice about reading it? I want to say, take it personally. Take this country personally. It belongs to you. And people there are very real forces that have worked very hard to get you to the point where you don't think that way. It's a giant con. That's what the ego is. Everybody, anybody with any familiarity with AA knows, they'll talk about sick thinking, stinking thinking. It's our thinking. The Course in Miracles says salvation begins when you consider the possibility there might be another way. And the only thing to be saved from is our own sick thinking. And our sick thinking will kill us if we do not change our minds. The Course in Miracles says that your greatest power to change the world lies in your power to change your mind about the world. There is only one purpose to the world, the Course in Miracles says, and that is the healing of God's Son. That is the purpose of the world. That is the purpose of our individual lives. That is the purpose of our collective existence. And until we move into that, we are not moving into the only mindset that is actually a survivable option for the 21st century. Talk about absence of long-term thinking. We don't even go there. Because we know in our hearts that if we actually do, we know that if we continue the way we are, we're going to lose these things that are most precious. This world is so precious. The planet is so precious. The building, the architecture, the art, the relationships, the babies, the music. What are we doing? Why are we behaving so recklessly? Why are we behaving so irresponsibly? Oh, I know why. Because it's somebody else's issue. We're just trying to make it. And by the way, the fact that so many people have a hard time just making it is actually part of the plan to make sure that you don't have the bandwidth to complain. Complain anyway. Complain anyway. Do something about it anyway. You know, it's like when you see pictures of countries in which people get to vote for the first time. And you will see lines miles long, people getting to vote for the first time. Here, in fact, we can't be bothered. And in the 2018 congressional elections, we will see the results of all the voter suppression issues, all the voter suppression efforts being made as we speak, state after state, and even now on a federal level. And there will be all kinds of ways that it will just be sort of made inconvenient for you. You think it's an accident? Sometimes I think, I'm a pretty smart person. I can't figure out where I'm supposed to vote. Why is it so complicated? You think that's an accident? That is not an accident. So I'm a person who can own my own schedule, can own my own schedule. I have a nice life, and I know how sometimes it's oddly and weirdly inconvenient for me. So I think, well, what is that? Of course, it is. These things are not an accident. All these voter ID laws. Open your eyes. This is not an accident. But we should be prepared. We should be prepared for this in advance. Because the fact that so many of the best and the brightest, and that means each and every one of us in this country, they just make it a little harder and harder and harder. Just a little harder. And then the food is more corrupted, and the food is more filled with all the things that make brain fog, and all these kinds of things. There was just so many ways having to do with the stuff in the food, and the stuff in the air, and the stuff in the ground, and the stuff in the pensions, and the stuff in the making it economically harder, and getting health care, and how it's so hard, and how it's so expensive. It just wears us down, and wears us down, and wears us down. Because we are not living in a place where the whole purpose of our society is predicated on the idea that anything we can do to make it easier for people to soar is what we should be doing. And that is why we should have free preschool, and why we should have free college, and why we should have free health care. Why? Because economic despair limits who people can be. And when we are able to be who we want to be, we are good people, and we are compassionate people, we are decent people. But what's happening now is people are just, I'm doing everything I can just to survive. I'm doing everything I can just to make it. So you can't ask me to think about all that. That was the plan. I'm sorry, the ego is very smart. And the collective ego... and the collective ego works in the same way that the individual ego works. It's our own thinking used against ourselves. So it's not even about who is the individual to look at. There are individuals who embody it, and the idea of making sure that they are not in charge of, Congress and the White House is important. But still, it's more than that. None of this would have even been able to happen were it not for the fact that too many of us allowed ourselves to be taken away from the central mission and the central purpose and the central thoughts about what it means to be human. We talk so much about our relationships to each other, and that's everything the Course in Miracles says. But the larger relationship is to the universe itself. The larger relationship is to God. The larger relationship is to a sense of what it means to be human and what good can I do. And that if we really look at how this is all going down here, and how we are allowing short-term economic concern for just basically a handful of huge multinational corporate forces to just suck the energy, the life force out of Western civilization and even global civilization. And it's not even that all the people who work for those entities are bad people. It's not even about that. It's systems. This is not about demonizing. Martin Luther King talked about that. Not about demonizing individuals. It is about recognizing evil systems. And for us to be naive about this, why would you not be naive about addiction, not be naive about drug addiction, not be naive about alcoholism, not be naive about domestic abuse, not be naive about cancer or AIDS? What is it with us? Why, we don't have a problem knowing, well, that'll kill you, that'll kill you, that'll kill you, that'll kill you. But then when it comes, that'll kill you, oh, let's not be negative. What are we talking about? All of a sudden we go, oh, let's not be negative, let's not be divisive. Sometimes the person who loves you is the one who just tells you the truth. And we need to speak truth to each other right now. And we've talked about this so many times. This is not the first time that our country or Western civilization or human civilization has had some very serious challenges. And we are the descendants of people who stood up to those. In our country alone, slavery was met with abolition. In fact, that women couldn't even vote was met by the women's suffrage movement. Institutionalized white supremacy and segregation was met by the civil rights movement. So it's not like we're the first generation to be confronted by forces that violated and transgressed against the very principles on which we purport to stand. But let us not be the first generation to wimp out on the job of doing what is necessary to make things right.
Okay, loving it, beautiful. Yeah, I hope you're hearing that. Yeah, this is the message. Yeah, let's see. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to share that with you. Okay, great. Yeah, good. Love a good argument. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, wonderful. So, yeah, this is a lady who's been studying and teaching the Course in Miracles for 30 years, and this is her political analysis, and it very much resonates with mine. So I'm glad to share it with you, and you're entitled to do anything with it that you want to do. That's your right. I'm glad that there are people in the world that, have the clarity and the courage and the care to put their head up and speak truth to power. Yeah, for all of us. Where do I want to be here? Yeah. As you all know, in the mornings we do Abraham and the Course, and we do Eileen Caddy, we do Oren and Daben, and I've started adding angel cards and the Mayan calendar, the wave spell, and I've started putting up quotes recently from Paul Selig and his guides. And I just want to say that for me personally, the last few days have been great. And I was definitely going through a big challenge there on Friday, and I got a lot of help and a lot of inspiration and a lot of guidance and support and many good opportunities over the weekend. So here I am Tuesday feeling like a new man. One of those things that has helped me today is, and I don't have it open here yet at the moment, is Patricia's new prayer about taking our power back. It's interesting. James Twyman is doing a workshop in a couple weeks, bringing back the energy of the Moses Code. That's the music I was playing at the top, and I'll play it again to channel here in a few minutes. I'm wanting to do this workshop with you all here about financial freedom and abundance. And I've said that my teacher Lazarus talks about this year being the year of valuation. So we're all deciding what everything is worth, what our work is worth, what our lives are worth, what a world that works for everyone is worth. Yeah, all this kind of thing. So, this is the most political I've been in quite a while. And of course, everyone is going to have a reaction and an opinion. And as I say again, that is absolutely your privilege, my friends. Me too. Yeah, I get to have an opinion also as well. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to share it here with you. But the point is simply this, as she said, about recovering from addiction and 12 steps and taking responsibility. And that's what I aspire to be a safe space for us to do in these little moments like this, is to talk about the issues, to stir the energy up, and then to work with that energy. So we say again here, in a week where Houston has had the biggest natural disaster in the history of the U.S., where there are wildfires raging throughout the West Coast to the point that the sun and the moon are both being changing colors because the sky is so filled with smoke throughout the western half of the U.S. I've heard this from people as far away as Colorado, I think. And then here we come into Irma, a Category 5 hurricane, which is a monster storm. This has got to get our attention at some point, that something really intense is happening on the planet. And however we attribute who is behind it or what's behind it or what we need to do about it, I promise you, as our indigenous brothers have shared many, many times, it's a time of purification, and it's a time of not just fasting or praying, but of purifying our beliefs. And when working with the cards and doing readings and all that, there's the retreat card, and the retreat card from my guides is 3 simple questions. What do I believe? How deeply do I believe it? And is it my truth now? And that is really the question of any initiation, of any challenge, yeah? When you have a moment to retreat into yourself, in your day, in your life, in the journey of being a human, you're trying to reconnect the energy, reconnect the energy of the mind, our beliefs, with our heart, our understanding, with our soul and spirit, the parts of us that know, you see. And it's done unto you as you believe, because that's the focus, yeah? What you focus on expands. What you believe, you receive. What you think about, you bring about. It has to come through you in order to come to you, etc., etc. Lazarus says there are 2 ways that reality is created. One is through consciously doing it, and the other is through allowing it. And so we're at a place right now where we've allowed things to be what they have become here for the moment. And we need to take spiritual responsibility for that, not finding people to blame and not finding people to hate and not blaming or hating ourselves, please, but tuning into Mother Earth and putting our hearts to Mother Earth and asking to be a guardian of the earth and a wisdom keeper of the earth and a peacekeeper and these kinds of ideas, yeah, to be the calm in the storm, and to be the calm voice in a sea of turmoil and tumult, yeah. So that would be my prayer here, and I'm still looking for Patricia's prayer from today, which is so powerful. You all know how much I love Patricia Cota Robles, and on her page she has the video log, which I find a very silly name, vlog, but you can sign up for free, and there are now 25 or 26 10-minute videos that she started at the beginning of the year that have week by week and step by step been sharing with us basically the hidden history of humanity's spiritual evolution. And we're coming out of the fall from consciousness, the fall of Atlantis, the fall from grace, etc. There's no doubt in my mind about this, and we're coming back into alignment now with our spiritual inheritance, as my guides would say. And so this is the prayer that she speaks here, and I'll just read it and invite you to look at the video. Will I, or will we show the video? I guess we'll show the video. All right, that's the message. Right. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Hi, Precious Heart. Thank you for joining us for our weekly vlog. In vlog 24, the company of heaven revealed to us how we inadvertently blocked our divine birthright, which promised we would receive a constant flow of God's abundance while we were learning to become co-creators with our Father, Mother, God in this schoolroom of earth. This tragedy occurred when we fell from grace and forgot that we had made a covenant with our God-parents. The beings of light have taught us that the universal laws that govern all creation require that there be a balance between the out-breath and the in-breath of God. The out-breath of God is the life force we receive as our gift of life from our Father, Mother, God. And the in-breath of God is the life force that the sons and daughters of God qualify with love and send back to our God parents in appreciation for our gift of life. In the original covenant, our Father, Mother, God's out-breath ensured that their sons and daughters abiding on earth would receive an infinite abundance of our life force and everything we would need to sustain our earthly bodies. In return, our part of the covenant with God promised that we would fulfill our responsibility of balancing the in-breath of God by using our life force in loving ways that would add to the light of the world and reflect our appreciation for our gift of life. After we fell into the abyss of separation and duality, we totally forgot about our covenant. Since that fateful time, eons ago, we have been struggling from morning to night to acquire what we need in order for our physical bodies to survive on earth. For the masses of humanity, this struggle has been all-consuming. The concept of using our life force to balance the in-breath of God by adding to the light of the world has been virtually forgotten. In most instances, even awakening humanity spends a relatively small portion of our time and life force adding to the light of the world through our meditations, prayers, decrees, invocations, and activities of light. The rest of the time we are focused on working like everybody else to make money to pay for the things we need in order to survive. In my experience, most people are so overwhelmed and exhausted with trying to survive that they cannot fathom having even 30 minutes a day to add to the light of the world. What the company of heaven wants us to realize is that erroneous belief is precisely what is keeping us trapped in poverty, lack, and limitation. The fact is, we have received and utilized the out-breath of our Father, Mother, God's life force since we began our earthly sojourn myriad lifetimes ago. Now, in order to reclaim our divine birthright and the infinite abundance and eternal peace promised with our covenant with God, we have no other option than to fulfill our part of the covenant. Remember, universal law requires that the sons and daughters of God balance God's out-breath with God's in-breath. The only way we fulfill that responsibility is by using our life force in loving ways to add to the light of the world and reflect our appreciation for our gift of life. What the precious beings of light in the realms of illumined truth want us to know that this is not a time-consuming or difficult task. Adding to the light of the world and reflecting back to God our appreciation for our gift of life is easily accomplished with a slight adjustment in our awareness. We actually have the ability to do this every single day with every breath we take. No matter where we are or what we are doing, all we have to do is align our heart and mind with our I Am presence in loving gratitude for our gift of life. Then we can ask our I Am presence to consecrate every thought, word, feeling, and action we express throughout the day with divine love and infinite gratitude for the opportunity to add to the light of the world. This is just a mindset and a heart commitment that does not take a single minute out of our day. It is as easily available to us as breathing and can be sustained with every beat of our heart through our divine intentions. This knowing will enable each of us to add to the light of the world every minute of every day. Know that when you develop this new perspective, you will effortlessly add to the light and love of every single thing you are thinking, feeling, saying, and doing. This means that every moment of every day, you will be adding to the light of the world. This is how you will reclaim your covenant with our Father, Mother, God. It is important for you to trust your ability to be a force of light, even in moments when you feel that what you are doing might seem like a mundane task. When you have the consciousness that you are adding to the light of the world, no matter what you are doing or where you are, there is no such thing as a mundane task. As you align more and more with the profound truth that you have the ability to add to the light of the world just by shifting your perception, you will become aware of the fact that with the intervention of your I Am presence, you have all of the time you need to accomplish whatever you have the heart call to do. When this happens, you will find that you are motivated to participate in various activities of light that your I Am presence magnetizes into your sphere of awareness. Then the light you are adding to the world will exponentially expand. The company of heaven assures us that if we begin every morning with the following simple affirmation and affirm it throughout the day, in the twinkling of an eye, our I Am presence will shift our awareness and empower us to be the light bearers we are destined to be. So before you get out of bed every morning, simply affirm from the deepest recesses of your heart, I am my I Am presence, and I am one with my Father, Mother, God. In loving gratitude, I accept my gift of life. I ask my I Am presence to consecrate every thought, word, feeling, and action I express throughout this day with divine love and infinite gratitude for the opportunity to add to the light of the world. And so it is. Dear one, I am so very grateful for your willingness to become the powerful force of light you have been preparing for lifetimes to be during this cosmic moment on Earth. God bless you, and I look forward to being with you next week.
Okay. There it is. You have it. Yeah. I've written it down here. We'll say it again. Yeah. 2 more times just because. Yeah. Thank you. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath if you wouldn't mind. Hand over the heart. I am my I Am presence. And I am one with the I Am presence of my Father, Mother, God. In loving gratitude, I accept the gift of my life. I ask my I Am presence to consecrate every thought, word, feeling, and action I express throughout this day with divine love and infinite gratitude for the opportunity to add to the light of the world. And so it is. Take a breath. And one more time here. I am my I Am presence, and I am one with the I Am presence of my Father, Mother, God. In loving gratitude, I accept my gift of life. I ask my I Am presence to consecrate every thought, word, feeling, and action I express throughout this day with divine love and infinite gratitude for the opportunity to add to the light of the world. And so it is. Take a deep breath. Okay, great. Yeah, it's very, very simple. And as I say, me and other fans of Patricia's work who've been following her for years, we cherish her clarity and her level of connection to Source. It's really extraordinary. She's a world teacher, in my opinion. And that she's done this year, a year of new beginnings, of starting over. These little segments of the hidden history of humanity's spiritual story and evolution, leading us up to this moment at this divine timing, is really extraordinary. I just want to say here, according to Steve Judd, astrologically, it is obviously a very intense time, and it's going to be this way over the next week for sure. So if you think you've already been challenged, that I'm sure that's true. But you might be called on, like you are being here today, to hold the space for humanity to get through these terrors and upsets and traumas and tribulations. Even when things happen, of course, around the world, and it's not reported on our little news programs, it's still part of the collective consciousness, and it's still affecting how we feel. So when I read people's posts, other empaths and sensitives and all that, and they describe, that they're just freaked out or flipped out or whatever. I mean, I was absolutely there a few days ago. But what has happened is, as always, I have these great resources, as we all do, and I use everything at my disposal. And I say again, we offer up and surrender and release everything that no longer serves us as consciously and as deliberately as needed. And then we give thanks for making a new agreement with the universe. And that's what affirmative prayer is. Affirmative prayer is coming back to the truth and being grounded in that truth consciously. And I started to say this before. I may say this in the channeling again here. That belief, understanding, and knowing are the three different levels of consciousness that we have access to. And there's a lot of opinion in the world and a lot of belief in the world, and a lot of it is without understanding or not really based in spiritual knowing. I've been listening a lot to Ram Dass after I saw the great documentary that Kim recommended, Dying to Know, with Ram Dass and Timothy Leary. And I watched some of Ram Dass's interview with the great Thich Nhat Hanh, who is one of the most enlightened teachers on the planet. Both of them together were amazing. But what I want to say is, if you look at Thich Nhat Hanh's videos, or Ram Dass for that matter, but absolutely Thich Nhat Hanh and Eckhart Tolle, of course, these are people that are so centered in their truth and so centered in being discerning and discriminating in terms of their interaction with emotion and ideas in the outer world and other people's pain and fear and trauma and their own pain and fear, that they really are great inspirations and great masters. So find those teachers and teachings that truly move you, that absolutely inspire you, that give you confidence that this is a part of your answer of whatever it is you're asking for or asking about right now. And I also want to say here, this is kind of from Spirit, I want to say that, if you have a need, post it and ask for prayer about it. And, the people that follow what I do here and on Facebook in general, we'll just take a moment and tune into each other and send each other some light. Erica Morningstar is a dear friend of mine and one of my exes, and she's in Hawaii, and she was asking for prayers for her partner who's in the Virgin Islands in the path of this Hurricane Irma. So I want to remember Erica and Rob. And there's many other people going through deep stuff. I just did a session today for Camille, who's in Florida, and we didn't have any knowledge about any of this a few hours ago. So I'm keeping her and her family in my thoughts and prayers as well. So you get the general idea here, my friends. Prayer is not an act of desperation. It's aligning to the truth of who we really are, and it's working with it consciously from a place of belief, understanding, and knowing, and that has not more than an impact. That helps to create the reality that we're all asking for. Also, I have to say, I was out on my little break here today, and this butterfly landed right on my shirt. So I took a picture of it. I was able to use the phone and take a picture. But it was amazing, because what I want to say is that moment happened just after I had, come on, Wi-Fi, work with me, heard Patricia's prayer that we just did. So I just want to share that with you. And as Abraham says, when you're in the vortex, because nature will respond to you differently. So that had never happened in all the time I'd been living here. So that was a very magical and beautiful moment. So I'm so delighted to share that with you. All right, my friends. So I think that'll do it for tonight. Yes, let's do a little light work here. Yeah. And as always, I'll leave my links for sessions and donations and ebooks. Yeah. So here we go. Let's close our eyes and take a deep breath. Dear friends, here we go, yeah? 7 stars spiral down through time and space, touching the crown of your head. Take a deep breath. Relax and release. Relax and release. Relax and release. Take another breath. The crown, the third eye, the throat, and the heart center all open to a field of light and knowing. Take a deep breath. You are one with the infinite, one with all that is, one with the creation and the creator as one. Take a deep breath. Down the will center, the sacral center, the root, the hips, the legs, relax and release, relax and release, relax and release. Take a breath. Feeling, sensing, and knowing that you are expanding your consciousness in this powerful and beautiful moment. We invite you to stand in your strength and in your truth as a spiritual being. And as you stand in your strength and your truth as a spiritual being, we invite you to know that you are surrounded and supported by the guides, guardians, teachers, and friends of love and light that work with you and through you to co-create healing and awakening in these powerful moments. Take a deep breath. And just from your heart, from your hands, from your imagination, your third eye, allow beautiful, lavender light, rose light, pink light, violet light. Allow the softest and most compassionate and gentle light to surround and to support humanity and Mother Earth. Take a deep breath. The light of the world, the light of all that is, as one light. The light of the world, the light of all that is, as one. The light of the world, the light of all that is, as one. Take a breath. And that you stand in the fulcrum between heaven and earth, in the space between, a space for grace, where love, in its infinite wisdom and eternal patience, and will, with its power and its strength and its determination, can dance and merge and become one. Take a deep breath. So to those places and those people who have touched your heart, and to your life, and to your friends and family and loved ones and community, let us bring through the space for grace, for healing, for wholeness, for oneness. Take a deep breath. With each passing day, the energy of the earth continues to move up the scale towards a shift in awakening and awareness, a shift in consciousness. And that which has been denied must be acknowledged, surrendered, and released in order for the new to be possible. Without judgment, without fear, without blame. You take responsibility for your part, freely and fully, in co-creating the world as you experience it. Take a deep breath. And if there is need and want to forgive or to be forgiven, this is a moment for that. To honor your humanity and to honor your divinity and to recognize in truth they are one, eternal and inseparable. Take a deep breath. And to ask for and to offer that healing light of forgiveness, where in unconsciousness you personally or humanity collectively has strayed from the path of its divine purpose through its beautiful human free will. Take a deep breath. To forgive and to be forgiven is to remember that you are sacred, that you are eternal, that you are a part of and not apart from the Creator and the creation as one. And therefore, this is a moment for beginning again, for believing, understanding, and knowing that the will of all that is in service to your evolution, your growth, your awakening, and the full flowering of your potential. And so to your heart of hearts, we invite you to say yes. Yes, I am able. Yes, I am willing. And yes, I am ready to be all that I can be in this powerful time, in loving service to myself, my loved ones, my community, and the whole wide world. Take a deep breath. And let that yes begin to move throughout the four corners of the earth, the four elements, the four races, and the four directions. And let it touch with a whisper, an embrace, a generous act, a courageous word, an inspiring message. Let it touch the hearts of humanity who have forgotten the power of yes and the power within each human heart to begin again, to forgive and to be forgiven, and to dream a new dream, a dream of love and peace and the beauty and the majesty of life on Mother Earth. Take a deep breath. The elements are with you. The four directions are with you. The four races are with you. And heaven and earth join as one to surround and support you, humanity, and Mother Earth in this hour of healing. Take a breath. We stand ready in spirit, in service to your will, in honoring of your belief, of moving into the depth of your understanding, and of lighting up the path to your true knowing. That which is true is eternal and absolute and will never fail you or your world. Have faith. Be the light. Have courage. Be the love. Take a deep breath. Dear ones, we know that all is well for you and for this world, no matter how it appears. Be at peace, and we'll meet again. Peace and blessings. We give thanks for you, and we give thanks with you. And so it is. Peace and blessings. Love you. Namaste.